Oh, man, here we go again. Here we go again. So the Daily Mail is saying that Chinese scientists created a mutant Ebola virus to skirt around biosafety rules, and it's causing horrific symptoms in hamsters, and it basically killed all those shits. They ran a test with a bunch of... Okay, I'm gonna walk you through this. The hamsters infected with the constructed virus died within 2 to 3 days. The results could be a breakthrough in using animals to safely study Ebola. More on that in a minute. So this is the argument that they use. This is what they say. They go, look, you guys don't understand. Yes, we're in the lab. Yes, we're creating an evil mutant Ebola virus that could kill everything. But we're doing it because we're trying to protect against it. We're trying to know if the time comes that this is out there, we want to know how to fight back against it. We want to know what drugs work. We want to know how to defeat it. And by the way, this was the same logic that went into COVID stuff, right? The gain of function research that was going on at various labs. This is the argument they make. They go, look, you just don't understand. We're doing this to stay a step ahead of the viruses. Okay, but what happens in a situation where, oops, there's a mistake, the virus gets out, and we're unprepared? And that might be what happened with COVID, right? I mean, at this late date, I'm not sure we even know yet, but the two theories of the wet market theory, how it had a natural origin, that's one of the theories, and the other theory is it escaped from a Chinese biolab, which was in the same region as Wuhan, which is where the shit came out from. And there seems to be a pretty heated debate that's always going on around where it came from. And it's not a crazy idea to say, hey, that shit could have come from the lab. So they say Chinese scientists have engineered a virus with parts of Ebola in a lab that killed a group of hamsters. A team of researchers at Hebei Medical University used a contagious disease of livestock and added a protein found in Ebola, which allows the virus to infect cells and spread through the human body. The group of hamsters that received the lethal injection developed severe systemic diseases similar to those observed in human Ebola patients, including multi-organ failure. One particularly horrific symptom saw the infected hamsters develop sections in their eyeballs, in their eyes, which impaired their vision and scabbed over the surface of the eyeballs. While the experiment may spark fears of another lab leak, the researchers say their goal was to find the right animal models that can safely mimic Ebola symptoms in a lab setting. The study suggested that infected hamsters could be a decent model for studying the spread and treatment of Ebola in the future. Ebola needs to be handled in biosafety level 4 facilities, which are special high-security laboratories, while many are only BLS 2. To work around this, in a lower security setting, scientists used a different Ebola virus called vesicular stomatitis virus, VSV, which they engineered to carry part of the Ebola virus that's called glycoprotein that plays a crucial role in helping the virus enter and infect cells of its host. The team studied 5 female and 5 male hamsters that were all 3 weeks old. All female Syrian hamsters showed decreased rectal temperature. What? Oh, decreased rectal temperature and up to 18% weight loss. They all died between 2 and 3 days. The 5 male hamsters lost 15% of weight and succumbed to the disease at no later than 3.5 days. However, 2 male hamsters survived and gained 20% more weight than pre-infection. The team harvested organs from the dead animals, finding the virus accumulated in the heart, liver, spleen, lung, kidney, stomach, intestines, and brain tissue. The highest levels were found in the liver and lowest in the brain. It is a sign that 3-week-old Syrian hamsters infected with this virus have the possibility of playing a role in the study of optic nerve disorders caused by EVD. The team shared in the study, which was published in the Chinese journal Virological Sinica. I don't know, man. The team concluded that the infected hamsters showed a rapid onset of symptoms, shock liver, systemic infection, and developed severe systemic diseases similar to those observed in human body Ebola patients. They also noted that the experiments provided a rapid preclinical evaluation of medical countermeasures against Ebola under BLS2 conditions, concluding the study was a success. The last major outbreak of the virus occurred from 2014 to 2016, I remember that, in several West African countries. It was deadly, a report from the World Health Organization said. Yeah, but here's the thing. 28,600 people were infected and about 11,300 died. What people don't know about Ebola is it doesn't spread nearly as easily, not only as COVID, but also like compared to the flu. If my understanding is correct, and I'm going off memory from reading about this a while ago, but I'm pretty sure that you need to be in direct contact with the bodily fluids of somebody who died from Ebola in order to get Ebola. So it's harder to transmit. So basically, with a good education around the virus, you can really, really stop the spread of the virus. This isn't like something that's airborne, and if you're just in the same room as somebody who has it, you're going to get it. That's not the way it works. And so, look, I'll ask you guys, you put in the comment section below, but I have to say, my reaction looking at this, granted, I'm just a regular Joe Schmo. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a scientist. But when I look at this, the first thing that comes to mind is, can we not do this? Can we not? Because all this gain-of-function research stuff and creating these mutant viruses in a lab, isn't it statistically much more likely that because we're doing these experiments, some of these viruses get out, and then that leads to new pandemics? Isn't that more likely than the good that may come from fiddling with these viruses in the lab that can help us prevent this stuff in the future? I feel like statistically it's probably more likely that this hurts than helps. That, this is how you're statistically more likely to get viruses spreading versus doing this to figure out treatments to then help in a situation like that. I think it's a cost-benefit analysis, and I don't think people take the cost-benefit analysis very seriously. I think as human beings, we just like to tinker with shit. And then we fuck up, and then we worry about the consequences later, right? It's like what's happening with climate change. Every reasonable person knows it's going on. It's bad. There are massive downsides to it. It's clear. It's apparent. We're causing it. And it's like we just keep doing shit, and we're like, yeah, we'll deal with the consequences later. That's kind of like what this is, right? Yeah, let's make a mutant Ebola virus. Don't worry, this will actually be for good reasons. Bad things won't happen. Well, in this instance, thankfully, there wasn't a lab leak, but God help us if there is one, right? Anyway, not sure I'm big on gain-of-function research. I don't. And also, I think there's also a legit animal rights concern, too. I'm not a big hardcore lefty on these issues. I'm generally agnostic on these issues. I'm a meat eater, so I can't be much of a hypocrite, right? I can't be too much of a hypocrite while discussing this. But are there not bare minimum things that we could all agree, like, hey, maybe don't torture the fucking animals, right? And in this instance, it's like the whole point is we're going to infect these motherfuckers and they're probably going to die. They're just hamsters. Yeah, but we also have factory farms where we torture fucking cows and pigs and everything under the sun. The only animals we treat good are like cats and dogs, right? So, I don't know. There's also that element to it as well, which is a little bit uncomfortable. But even just on the gain-of-function research angle alone, I think it's a little sussy, if I'm being honest. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.